Do people really buy into all that stupid shit you watch in the Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix? I haven't watched it yet, but I really refuse to because I pretty much understand that from what I've read from people who've watched it really just seems like Vince McMahon is just doing his typical bullshit self censorship tricks, where he will just sweep a lot of his zesty details under the floorboards. He will just censor himself. What do you think the WWE has liked to do for the past several years? Tried to censor shit. Try to censor blood by turning the shit to black and white whenever blood bursts out. Freeze frame during headshots, or right before the object, steel chair, makes impact with the head. Just freeze frames right before that. I remembered when I watched Saturday Morning Slam like 12 years ago. WWE had tried to censor out some of the neck and head moves. Any grappling and power move involving necks and heads taking a lot of impact. That stuff got cut down quite a bit for children's Saturday morning television. And I was fucking 12 or 13 years old when that show first premiered. Actually, I think I was 12. No, I was 12. That was like 2012. I was 12 years old when that show first fucking premiered. I remembered that dumb shit. When it was on the Vortex. Another failed endeavor by Chaim the Money Rustler Saban. Anyways, yeah, I mean, if you, I mean, this stuff should be fucking not watched, really. Oh, but you can get a basic understanding of Vince if you watch this documentary. You can get a basic understanding of him. Bullshit. You gotta fucking use other material to supplement that shit. This is the fucked up thing about pro wrestling too, is that you cannot trust these major companies to give you an official history of stuff. You gotta watch shoot promos. You've gotta read some books. I actually recently bought a book about the history of ECW by Scott Williams, the guy who helped co-write the Dr. Death Steve Williams autobiography, memoir. They're not related to each other, even though they're both last named Williams. But it's written by the guy who helped Dr. Death write his memoir. And you know what? A lot of the stuff I already was aware of since I was a teenager, but there was a lot of other insightful stuff that I never really understood before as well. And the way the writer, makes it all come together is really very engaging stuff. It's a very good book, very well written for a guy who spent a lot of his writing career on writing for Texas newspapers about crime. It's pretty good, for a guy like that. He does really good. It's a very clear sense of action. Very clear sense of deploying anecdotes. That said, the introduction from fucking what's his face? What the fuck's this? Shane Douglas? Man, that introduction kind of sucked though. Honestly, the introduction from Shane Douglas is kind of shit. He kind of writes it like a huckster. He kind of writes it like a huckster salesman in a way, trying to make you kind of buy into it. It's kind of like it's not like that Kurt Russell movie Used Cars. It's not like that movie that much, but it's like the typical. It's like shit you watch on TV. People trying to sell you shit. It's like YouTube ads, like the fake bodysuit women promoting the Church of Latter-day Saints. These bodysuit silicone-looking women selling you that crap. these fucking CIA-looking fucking plants. Yeah, I mean the Shane Douglas thing is kind of shit. That said, I have some respect for Shane Douglas. I mean Shane Douglas is cool, you know, and Shane Douglas did make a good point about the book about the book having, you know, better reading value than just a boring historical book with no anecdotes and just basically a big old timeline sprawl. That said, I don't hate timeline sprawls. Timeline sprawls are pretty fun, but yeah, I mean, where's all the little details within all of that stuff? And I know the Magbitter Truth-esque cocksuckers out there are going to say, history, play on names. Yes, you're right. His story is a play on names. Even certain drag queens on social media and TV are very privy to that, pretty savvy to that. History. Imagine, like, unironically, some regular average Joe guy saying history. I can imagine fucking Josh Lewis saying that. Oh, you see, I had to drop another name. I know, name dropping sucks, I know. But I have to make it make sense, okay? I have to make it make sense in some way. I mean, sometimes I have to be kind of liberal with that. But yeah, anybody who buys into that Mr. McMahon documentary is just stupid. I don't care if you don't know. I mean, whether you know anything about him or not. I mean, you shouldn't even take that as like the only thing. You should definitely supplement that with other materials, other research. I mean, research is key. I mean, you can sit there and watch this 6-episode thing where Vince McMahon talks to you about his fake life, his bullshit life, his self-censored life. I mean, come the fuck on with that. Come the fuck on with that. With his supervillain mustache. Vince McMahon should have been the guy played by Dennis Quaid in the movie The Substance. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie yet, but I actually did see that movie, finally, and it sucks. It's probably the worst movie I've seen this year. But if you see that movie, you remember Dennis Quaid's character, Harvey? You know, this kind of shady, dainty skin looking person with the wannabe rock star tight jeans. I mean, that person should have been played by Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon has the perfect, like, evil executive look, the evil, creepy, squingy look. Dennis Quaid just looks like your fucking grandma. Now, Vince McMahon just kind of has that grandma look too, but you know what? That mustache and those fucking boofed looking fucking eyes, those poofy eyes, that gives off an evil fucking aura. I mean, that makes Dana White look like a caretaker at the farm. And that fucking Dana White fucking sucks too. Dana White's also a piece of shit. Oh my god. Dana White, this guy should never take a moral stance on anything. This guy is garbage. This guy was the front man for Power Slap. Power Slap is fucking... What the fuck is fucking Power Slap? Seriously. There's like literally like... It's just an endurance test, but without any strategizing. I mean, you can't even fucking duck for cover. And that's the sad thing. I wish those guys would fucking duck for cover all the time. That would actually make it really funny. Great test of reflexes, you know? So that your brain, just to prove that your brain hasn't totally fucking gone off. You know, duck a fucking hit. You know? Like boxers would when they try to avoid getting hit to the fucking head. Now, of course, those guys have their fucking hand. Now, the guys who get slapped, the ones who receive it, you know, they get their hands basically tied, you know? But still, I mean, you can still, you know, do something reflexive with that, defensive with that. You can still use your shoulders, you know, to help support you, but just duck your shoulders, your neck, your head. You can use that shit to duck motherfuckers. But anyways, I mean, Dana White, oh man, I mean, imagine all the dumbasses who fell for Power Slap. That dummy Dana White. My goodness. Okay, you know what? I might as well also talk kind of quickly about the last UFC pay-per-view I watched, UFC 307. 307 is actually the second like pay-per-view from UFC that I watched from start to finish. Because the first one I watched from start to finish on pay-per-view, because like my mom's friends were watching it with her, and she like tagged me along. Was in 2010, back when Anderson Silva was a freaking main eventer, and everybody in the fucking living room was like, everybody in the little apartment was like rooting for Anderson Silva to win, and he won. He won pretty easily, actually. It took like didn't take very long. But yeah, 307. That was 307 was fun, I gotta say, but 307 kind of ticked me off a little bit because the opening match between Harrison and Vieira. Vieira's Brazilian, right, and Harrison's from USA, right? All the dumbass fans in Utah were chanting USA, USA during that fight, but then during the Jose Aldo Mario Bautista fight, they did not do that chant, despite the fact that Aldo's from Brazil. But then again, Aldo's also, pretty respected fighter. And he's one of the old heads, practically, because he's like pushing 40. You don't see these fucking crowds chanting USA, USA during the Aldo fight. But you see them chanting during the Harrison fight. And you know what? Harrison dominated that fight. Harrison basically, that was an easy fight for Harrison, Kayla Harrison. For Aldo, it was pretty tough because Aldo got real defensive. He was just trying to protect his ass more than anything because Bautista was sharp offensively whole fight, and Aldo laid some strikes on him too, no doubt about it. I mean, to me, that should have been. I mean, that was too close to call the Aldo fight. Too close to fucking call. Too close to call. Dalice, the Georgian, he won his fight pretty easily. I mean, in some ways, that should have just been a TKO win. I think the refs, the ref just should have called it as soon as Dalice put the guy on the ground, instead of just calling the fight for an injury. That should have just been an easy TKO for Dalice. That should have been an easy TKO for the Georgian. He fucking dominated that other guy. Forgot his name. The American guy. Fair chocolate skin guy. Then there was the main event. The two main events. Pennington versus Pena. I pretty much knew that Pena was going to win after watching that stupid ass pre-show. Because Pennington was talking shit. Pennington was talking I've been here for so long and I finally accomplished my dream of being the champion. As soon as I fucking heard that, I knew Pena was going to fucking win. Juliana Pena. But that was a pretty freaking close fight, I must say. I mean, it was not the most predictable one when I actually watched it. It was actually pretty close. But I knew Pena was going to win because that whole pre-show thing felt like a scripted bullshit, the pre-shows fucking piss me off. They really do. It's this television editing style with the fucking bullshit soundtrack montage. And the fucking dumbass bulletin board talking points and the fucking sympathy points visually, and that stuff pisses me off. If I ever decide to watch another UFC pay-per-view, I want to try my best to just slack off and skip that shit. But yeah, I mean that was a pretty close fight. But here's the fight of the night of 307: Alex Pereira versus freaking Khalil Roundtree. Khalil Roundtree Jr. That fight was great. It was a freaking story. But Roundtree was fucking cocky as hell. Made some really cool moves. Roundtree's a beast, but Pereira, he played conservative at the beginning. He made Roundtree look good in the beginning, but Roundtree was just too fucking cocky. and he fucking got destroyed. But he looked awesome while getting destroyed. Must